Hey everybody, welcome to the quick journey here on YouTube. I'm Liz and I'm really excited that you guys are here. We are going to be chatting all things faux flowers. It's going to be a really fun YouTube episode. We're going to be talking about how to choose the most realistic flowers, how to make our arrangements look more realistic. We're going to just talk about all the tips and tricks to make our spring floral arrangement when it's so not spring outside. Like maybe the calendar says spring, but it's definitely still very cold out. We're just going to talk about how to get the most bang out of our buck when it comes to faux flowers and creating a really realistic faux flower arrangement for our home. I know faux flowers can feel kind of like an investment, but what I like to think about is the fact that I get to use them year after year after year. And I love that because every spring I get to pull them out of the totes, and I'm always so happy that I made a couple purchases the spring before. So you don't have to buy everything right now. Just make a small purchase every February or March, and before you know it, you'll have a tote. Are you serious? That's Pixie. She's a very talkative little chatterbox. Anyway, as I was saying, before we were so rudely interrupted, do you want to come say hello? If you make a little investment every single year, before you know it, you're going to have lots to choose from, and you're going to be able to make arrangements for multiple rooms in your house, and it's just a lot of fun, and it kind of helps me get over the last few weeks of winter, that little hump that we all experience before everything starts blooming and blossoming outside. But before we get started, if this is your first time here, I would love it if you would subscribe and give me a thumbs up and let me know what you think of this video in the comments or what you'd like to see here on the quick journey. It helps me to grow my small channel. It tells YouTube that you like it and that you want to see more and that they should show it to more people. And it's just a sweet way to encourage me and everybody here on YouTube. So if you feel compelled, I would love it if you would subscribe and give my video a thumbs up. Okay, so here in the Midwest, which is where I'm at, it is spring on the calendar, but it's so not spring outside. The ground is still hard, and we just got rid of snow here, and it's just still pretty chilly. Things aren't really growing yet, and I just get kind of blue. I need some color, I need some life in my home, but there's really not a lot happening outside. So that's why I turn to my faux flowers in order to kind of give me a little boost. We have Christmas in December, and I slowly take things down in January. And then in February, my house is just so bare, and I'm looking forward to filling it with some color and texture and just some pretty flowers just to help bring in the spring season. So I have been collecting faux flowers for years now, and I also have a few tips and tricks for how to find the most realistic faux flowers, how to make them look realistic in an arrangement, and I have an entire blog post that goes along with this whole subject that I will link in the description box below. So if there's anything I don't cover in the video, hop over to the blog post because it is very thorough with links and photos and all the things that you might want or need in order to create your own arrangement. Everybody has a different taste for what they're wanting in their home. I prefer more of a muted look, like light pinks and apricots and lavender and green, and I try to keep my color palette pretty neutral and muted because you don't want a ton of color in spring. That kind of comes in the summertime, and in order to make it look more realistic, you kind of want it to look the way it would look if it were outside, which is still pretty muted and monotone. Whenever I'm getting ready to create my arrangements, I go and get my tote full of flowers. That's how I store them. If you lay them neatly, it keeps critters out. It helps to keep them from getting all dusty and yucky, and it just helps you to be able to see what you have. So whenever you're going to create your arrangement, it's easy to see through the tote and you can just grab it and go. So I lay everything out on my table. I get my vases and containers out, and I just kind of start thinking about what I want my arrangements to look like. I definitely love more of a whimsical, wispy, airy arrangement. I think that is very realistic and easy to achieve. You have a few flowers and then you add in some wispy white, maybe purple filler, and then you have greenery. It keeps it so simple. Also helps to create a cohesive look throughout your home if you have the same type of arrangement in different rooms. Something to think about whenever you're going and purchasing stems. My mom taught me that our eye really likes when things are grouped in threes, and if not threes, then typically an odd number. So I didn't know this and I've not researched it, so maybe you can do that on your own, but I just take her word for it, and I always try to make sure that when I'm buying stems of flowers, I always buy them in groups of 3 so that I can have a more appeasing flower arrangement. Along with that, for the most part, I keep my flower arrangements in groups of 3 when it comes to colors as well. So maybe it's peach and white and then greens, or maybe it's like pink and purple and greens. Whatever you choose, whatever you like, keeping the colors to just a few help to make it look more realistic. So this year I have been so drawn to the blue and white situation happening. I have always loved blue and decorated my home with blue, but these new vases that are supposed to be reminiscent of times past, that are white with the blue scrolling or flowers or whatever it might be, they are just wooing me. I'm telling you, I am wanting to buy them left and right. But for now, I just have a big blue and white vase that I got from TJ Maxx. I have a galvanized vase and I have some glass vases. A real quick tip, if you are using glass vases especially, is to put some water in the bottom. That makes it instantly look more realistic. If it's empty, people are already gonna say, oh, well, it's for sure a faux flower arrangement if there's no water in the bottom. And if you have stems that are raw on the bottom, just add some clear nail polish and that will help to keep it from rusting on the bottom of your vase. Another quick tip when you are creating your arrangement is to make sure that you put a slight bend in some of those stems so that it looks like some of them are falling over the edge of the vase, and it just helps it to look more realistic so that everything's not just shooting straight up. It'll make it look like the arrangement has been there for a little while and that some of them are getting a little floppy and some of them are still standing up straight, and it just makes it look more real. One of my favorite tips is to buy stems that have blooms on them that are in different phases. Some that are fully bloomed, some that are halfway bloomed, some that are still tightly in their buds. This makes it look like it's been picked out of your yard, or that you've gotten it from some sort of florist that has some stems that are, you know, in different phases. So anyway, this is a really big tip, and they are out there. You can find them, and they always look more realistic when you put them in a vase. Another tip is if you are really tight when it comes to the budget, which I completely understand. As I said, this is an investment. They're not, you know, $1. They cost more to buy some nice stems. So if you are on a budget, buy some really high-end stems that maybe $7, and buy some really cheap ones, maybe $1, and put them together in a vase so that you have color, you have filler, you have some blooms, but not all of them have to be super expensive blooms. A quick story on that note, if you see these tulips back here, I went to Magnolia Market a few years ago, and let me tell you, those faux flowers are so realistic looking, and the tulips just got me. It was February and I was so excited for spring, and they had tulips everywhere and they were so pretty and they looked so real, but they were really expensive. So I let myself buy one bunch, and I can't remember if there were 5 or 6 tulips in the bunch. And then I went to another little store while we were down there, and they had white ones that looked almost just as good. Okay, I'm gonna give it to Joanna, hers looked better. But these white ones looked almost just as good, and they were like less than half the price. So I pair the pink ones that I got from Magnolia Market and the white ones I got from another local shop down there together, and they look so good together, and it looks so realistic. So make sure that if you find some stems you really, really love, grab them and pair them with some that maybe aren't so expensive, and it helps to create a really realistic looking arrangement. Another quick tip for making your faux flower arrangement look real is to go outside and grab some real greens. If you have a bush or a tree or something that is has some leaves on it or some green on it, grab some of that and stick it in with your faux flowers, and it instantly adds the bend and the whimsy and the airiness that you need in order to make an artificial arrangement look even more realistic. Okay, let's talk about where I like to find my faux stems. First of all, you can find them like anywhere. You can find them at thrift stores, antique stores have them, I mean anywhere. But I really like to go to Hobby Lobby or to Michael's because they're usually running sales on them every couple weeks, and so if I'm wanting some, I can get them for 50% off. Target also is a great place to look if you have a bit of a higher budget, because usually their items are a bit pricier, and you can go there and find some realistic stems, and they're really nice to add to any faux flower arrangement. Now IKEA, it's not a place I go very often because I don't have one very close, but I have bought several green plants from IKEA that look really realistic, and as I've been there, I've seen some of their faux stems. I happen to always go like during the winter when I'm not really looking for flowers, but their stems look really realistic. So that is another place to go, and IKEA always has great prices. If you want to know more tips and tricks for making your faux flower arrangements look real, definitely visit the blog post that I've linked down in the description box. I hope that you enjoyed this simple video sharing my favorite faux flower tips and tricks. I love it whenever I get to bring out my faux flowers to just get me through those last few weeks of winter as I'm looking forward to all the exciting colors and new life that will come in spring. If you'd like to hear more, check out my blog at thequickjourney.com and be sure to watch my other homemaking videos. Thanks for hanging out with me, you guys, and we'll see you next week.